Yo, YouTube, what's crackin' like a jack and smack, and it's Wolfman for video Thursday Talk episode 35, I believe. And a lot of stuff has been going down in the NBA 2K16 My Team. The market crash is real. I will be discussing that in a future video, probably tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get on to the story, and the story of my bike. Now, if you don't know, riding a bike as a kid, that used to be the greatest thing ever, you know. If you haven't rode or ridden on a bike before, you need to ride a bike. If you don't know how to ride a bike, you should know how to ride a bike. I mean, go out there, maybe your friend got a bike, maybe ask your parents for a bike, because I think bikes now, they're like only like $100, maybe $50 to $100, so that's not that much for a bike, man. I mean, that's a form of transportation. So speaking of the first time I got my bike, the first time I rode my bike was like young as a kid. And I don't know how we used to do it, because I used to ride on training wheels, and we used to ride bikes inside the basement. Like, we used to ride our bikes inside of the house, inside the basement, because we couldn't go outside. We weren't allowed to go outside at the time. And every time we rode our bikes, we had to be supervised. It was me and my brother riding the bike, and we had to ride around the house, and it was kind of dumb. I don't know, it's still crazy how we did it. Such a small amount of space, and we're just riding our bikes in that area. I mean, it's crazy. But then, a couple years later, the training wheels got off, excuse me. And, I'm still riding my bike, but we can only ride our bikes in the back of our house. And then time has passed, and then 6th grade comes, I think either 5th grade or 6th grade. And there was this contest going on that was district-wide. So it was like every single school, all 5 schools. And what you had to do was you had to put your name into this, lotto ticket, or this bin in the cafeteria, and they would pick a winner, and the winner would get a brand new mountain bike. So everyone was doing it, man. I mean, everyone wanted the bike, man. I mean, if kids back in the day in our generation, everybody wanted a bike. So I put my name in the bin like everybody else. Wasn't expecting anything. So we got one day I got this phone call from the school, and I was like, oh shit, man, what the hell did I do? I mean, please don't tell me I did anything. What did I do wrong? Because usually when they call your house, it was either because you did something wrong or you were getting suspended. So I was like, damn, yo, what's going on, B? I'm a grade A student. I take my shit. I follow the instructions by the teacher. I ain't causing no fights, and I never got suspended before, so I was good and all that stuff. I had a clean record. And then they said, oh, you just run a mountain bike, and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. So we went to the local office to pick up the bike, and that was my bike for like the next 6 or 7 years. And I had a lot of great times with that bike, man. I mean, at the time I still couldn't ride my bike outside the house. I couldn't ride my bike in the streets. But after a while, I started to just ride my bike in the streets just by itself. And my parents didn't like that. They were complaining that I was riding my bikes in the streets. They said, you're gonna get killed out there. I'm like, wow. Just great advice, man. I'm riding my bikes in the streets for the first time, and you better be careful, because you're gonna get killed out there, man. You should not be riding your bike. I mean, I was like, where do you want me to ride a bike? Seriously, everybody's riding their bikes on the streets. All the kids are riding their bikes. Why can't I ride my bike? It's not like I'm stupid or anything. I'm looking both ways, and I'm riding on the sidewalk. Now, I did start to ride on the road, few years later down, but I was riding on the sidewalk, so there was no problem there. And I really started to ride my bike. It started to get really crazy. After school, after high school was finished, we went to go to play basketball at the local park, and I used to ride my bike there all the time. And it was much more easier than just walking, man. Oh my goodness, walking and riding a bike is just night and day, man. I'd much rather have a bike. And I always told everybody who didn't have a bike, out of my friends, so like, yo, you gotta get a bike, fam. Because I used to be riding with my group of bikers, and we used to be getting home quick, easy. After you play at the park and you're tired, you just ride your bike home instead of walking the way. It's so much better. But I started to get a little bit crazy with the bike. One of the places I went, we were gonna play football one day, and I rode my bike with my friend, and we went all the way to the mall. And I'm not that far from the mall, but it's like a pretty good distance on bike. So we spent like an hour on bike. We rode our bikes for an hour to get to this place and an hour back. So we were riding our bikes for 2 hours. And you know, I was riding pretty slow. My friends were complaining because I was riding so slow, but I couldn't help myself, man. I couldn't help myself. My bike was slowing down, man. The years have been catching up to my bike, so I was riding slow and stuff like that. So we took a long time, but that was a long ass bike ride, man. We rode all the way from like one part of New York to like the other part of New York, and that's crazy. And you know, I started to ride my bike a lot like that. Like I went one day I went to GameStop. There are a couple of times where I went to GameStop, you know, on my bike without my parents knowing, and hopefully nobody's listening right now. But you know, I used to sneak out my house on the bike. So you know, my mom had like college and stuff like that. So as soon as she left, I went right on that bike, and it was nighttime too. It was nighttime because it was like daylight savings and shit. So as soon as she left, I got right on the bike and I rode to GameStop. And GameStop is not even that close to our house. It's like a 30 to 40 minute bike ride. And this is at night on the street where it's busy and stuff like that, on Main Street. So this is crazy stuff right now. And at the time it was winter too. So I was riding my bike, and I remember one time, this is crazy, but I was going to get this pink controller, right? The pink controller, PS3 controller, it just came out. And I was like, yo, I gotta get that, man. If I get that, my friends are gonna be like, yo, dog, this dude got the pink controller. This dude is lit. So I was like, yo, I gotta get this PS3 controller, but how am I gonna get this controller? I mean, no one's gonna take me to GameStop anytime soon. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to GameStop. So it was like, what, 10 degrees outside? And I swear you not, I rode my bike all the way to GameStop, and I got the pink controller. But when I was riding back, it got so cold, man. And yo, this is crazy, but it got so cold that my feet started to freeze, my hands started to freeze. So during the bike ride back, I started to go into stores and remove my freaking my socks and my gloves, and I started to just start to warm up and sit down on the floor. Like, this is some petty stuff right here. Like, really? It's like, really, all this for a controller that's pink? Like, I went into a couple of stores. I remember I went into this grocery store. I took off my socks, took off my feet in the corner, made sure nobody saw me because it was kind of embarrassing to do that. But I took off all that stuff just so I can, you know, reheat myself and then go back on that bike. And then the journey was difficult. Not only that, at that time I didn't have a cell phone, I had no iPod, I had no music. So it was just me riding the streets, like, not with nothing. Like, I was just riding just to ride. And that bike ride, yo, those bike rides, some of those bike rides were annoying, man, and difficult because it was freezing outside. But yeah, those were two of my journeys. You know, the journey to the mall to get some gloves, and then the journey to GameStop a couple of times. I also remember I went to GameStop when Madden came out, and you know, I went to that GameStop with my bike. And I also used to go to take my bike and go to the barber shop. And yo, the barber used to be killing me because this barber, he used to just roast me, man. He used to be like, yo, where's the lock on that bike, fam? You ain't got no lock on that bike? Someone's gonna steal that bike one day. I'm like, yo, ain't nobody gonna steal the bike. It's right in front of the glass window. Like, yo, if someone takes the bike, I can easily go outside and stop them. Like, yo, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. So every time, like, I would bring the bike and I would ride my bike to the barber shop, he'd go outside. He literally stop cutting someone's hair, go outside, and like fix the bike. He'd literally flip the bike upside down so no one could steal it. Now that was a good idea, you know, flip the bike upside down. You know, if someone tries to steal it, then they would have to take a little bit of time. I would have already caught them. And I was like, all right, that's cool, flip the bike. But yo, this guy used to be going crazy, man. Like, he's like, he came in the store, was like, yo, whose bike is that, yo? And he just stopped cutting someone's hair. And I'm like, yo, focus on that nigga's hairline, man. Don't focus on the bike. But anyways, one day, you know, I was riding my bike, rode it to the library to study for a test with a group of friends, and I was like, you know what, ain't nobody gonna steal the bike. So I left it outside, and it's in front of the library. Like, the library has gates and stuff like that. So I left the bike like in front of the library. I couldn't see the bike, of course. And then by the time I came out, the bike was gone, and I was like, damn. And the funny thing is, I went back inside, or I was inside before that in the library. My friend's like, yo, someone's gonna take that bike, man. I'm like, nah, ain't nobody gonna steal a bike. Come on, man. Who's gonna steal a bike right in front of the library? There's witnesses. But I forgot I live in a black community, and every nigga wants a bike. Every nigga has a bike. If you don't got a bike, then you're not black. If you don't got a bike, you're not black in the community. So, you know, I went back outside, and the bike was gone, and I was like, damn, I guess that's it. That's the end of my journey. And ever since then, I've been taking the bus. Of course, I take the bus down to college because that's the only way I can do it, because there's no way you could take a bike all the way to the subway. That's going to take way too long. But I used to ride my bike, man. I used to ride my bike and get a lot of stuff from the mall, a lot of stuff from GameStop. You know, I used to ride my bike to get food and stuff like that. Yo, having a bike as a kid is the best thing, because you remember, you can't get your driver's license, man. You can't get your permit and stuff like that. And to this day, I still don't even have my driver's license. Even though I got my learner's permit, I could take the driving test, but I'm just lazy. But riding a bike, man, the bike is the best thing ever. And if I still had a bike to this day, I would still use it, because, you know, Dunkin' Donuts is right there, but taking a bike would be faster. Wendy's is right there, but taking a bike would still be faster. The park is right there, but taking a bike is faster and easier. So I would still like to have a bike. Maybe I will get a bike again, and it's good exercise. But anyways, YouTube, if you don't have a bike or you had a bike, let me know in the comment section about some of your stories. But I'm out for now. Peace.